Your Excellency, Ambassador Michael Oren, Rabbi Eric Yoffe, Rabbi Dick Hirsch, President-elect Rabbi Rick Jacobs, ladies and gentlemen, friends, it is an honor to be with you here this evening. Elie Wiesel once said, "The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. The opposite of art is not ugliness, it's indifference. The opposite of faith is not heresy, it's indifference. And the opposite of life is not death, it's indifference." As I stand here today, I feel I am already preaching to the choir. In your active Jewish community, indifference as a concept is not just frowned upon, it is forbidden. It is not part of your lexicon. Rabbi Eric Yoffe symbolizes this activism. Eric, your commitment and service to the reform movement, Israel and the Jewish people are second to none. Rabbi Yoffe has brought generations of Jews closer to Israel, strengthening that very spatial bond. Your center in Jerusalem is tribute to this. On behalf of the State of Israel, myself, and all of us, I would like to thank you, Rabbi Yoffe, for all your hard work. Thank you very much. Now to Rabbi Rick Jacobs, you have big shoes to fill, but your successful past has elevated you to your present position, and on behalf of the State of Israel and all of us, I wish you the best of luck, and we really look forward to working with you in the future. Next week, Jews around the world will celebrate Hanukkah, which itself is a festival of activism, festival of pride and freedom. Hanukkah teaches us the importance of taking our fate into our own hands. Perhaps one could say that it is the most Zionist of all festivals. It is fitting that at this particular time you are celebrating 50 years of the RAC, the Religious Action Center, Center for Spatial Justice, Education, Legislative Activity, and above all, once again, action. At the time of its creation, John F. Kennedy was president. The RAC and its values, products of the zeitgeist then, still play an important role in shaping a whole generation of young, proud Jews today. We are on the eve of Hanukkah, and we remember the Maccabees. They were proud Jews who decided it was time to stand up and be counted, to fight for their freedom. The flame they lit still glows within our people today. Over the summer, we have witnessed the active spirit of hundreds of thousands of Israelis who also decided it was time to be counted. They took to the streets, demanding social justice, demanding change, demanding progress. This is a real chance for a new deal for Israeli society, which we must grab with both hands. Now, as I look around this room today, I see more of the same, loud and proud Jews representing an integral part of the Jewish family, Jews who actively engage in their history in order to learn from history, to move forward, to make progress. The words that embody this spirit can be found in the core documents of Reform Judaism, including that of the '97 Miami Platform. Your very own Rabbi Yoffe was involved in the passage of this particular platform, and I quote, the restoration of Am Yisrael to its ancestral homeland after nearly 2,000 years of statelessness and powerlessness, represents an historic triumph of the Jewish people, providing a physical refuge, the possibility of a religious and cultural renewal on its own soil, and the realization of God's promise to Abraham, "To your offspring I assign this land." From that distant moment until today, the intense love between Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael has not subsided. Three crucial R words should be noted: renewal, restoration, realization. It is the historic triumph of renewal, restoration, and realization that keeps the Jewish people strong and united. Today, in this global atmosphere of uncertainty, our strength and unity have never been more important. As a turbulent 2011 reaches a close, 2012 will bring with it both complex challenges as well as opportunities. Israel is in close proximity to what has been described as an historic political earthquake. On the hazy horizons lurks an unstable, unpredictable global economy. Across the whole Middle East, in under a year, regimes have fallen and dictators continue to be disposed of. Are we looking at the beginning of a democratic Middle East, or will the Arab Spring turn into a stormy Islamist winter? While Egypt is certainly facing a shake-up, the hopes and expectations of Israel's defense establishment are unambiguous. Whatever the outcome, respecting and maintaining the peace treaty between Egypt and Israel is a strategic necessity, good for Egypt, good for Israel, and good for the entire region. The challenges of the Arab Spring will demand vigilance and preparedness. In the short term, extremist parties appear to have the upper hand. However, the long-term dream of a democratic neighborhood does not die in a heartbeat. We hope for the better, but prepare for the rest. And in the spirit of the Maccabees, we'll ensure that our own fate remains in our own hands. Israel 2012 is an anchor of stability, creativity, and economic productivity, a representative of democratic and Jewish values, of your values. The unshakable bonds between Israel and America and their respective defense establishments under the guiding head of President Barack Obama are stronger and deeper than ever, and we are very thankful and appreciative of that. But today, our stable island is surrounded by a sea of instability and uncertainty, as well as waves of Islamic terror. On our southern border, Gaza has been overrun by Hamas, dedicated to Israel's destruction. Hamas is sponsored, trained, and armed by Iran. In Hamas-run Gaza, the rocket arsenal is growing. These rockets have one final address: Israeli civilians. On our northern border, southern Lebanon is effectively controlled by Hezbollah, a Shia terrorist organization. Hezbollah is also sponsored, trained, and armed by Iran. These two terror proxies, between them, have an arsenal of tens of thousands of missiles and rockets that can hit almost every inch of our Israel. So how do we deal with these daily threats? Operation Castled and the Second Lebanon War left a deafening deterrence in the ears of our enemies, still ringing today. We also have a policy of active defense. The Israeli-made Iron Dome is the first of its kind. It intercepts incoming rockets, destroying them mid-air. A common denominator between these two threats is Iran, funding and arming terror, and in recent weeks, the IAEA Biennial report removed the mask, demonstrating to the whole world what we have been saying for years, that the Iranians have defied and misled the international community for long enough regarding their nuclear military program. A nuclear Iran will spark a potentially explosive arms race across our whole region. Iran, armed with the ultimate weapon of mass destruction, with its own hegemonic ambitions and access to the Gulf oil, spreading its extremist Shia Islamist ideology far and wide, threatens Israel, threatens the region, and threatens the entire world order. As President Obama and other world leaders repeatedly state, Iran must be prevented from gaining nuclear weapons, period. Your president understood and insisted on this issue from day one. America, Israel, and world leaders have to stand determined and united in order to face this threat, and not to remove any option off the table. And while Israel is ready to face any security challenge, it is still our duty as leaders to ensure that fighting is a last resort. That is why we must continue to take the initiative and pursue actively peace. Over the past 2 years, this government has not just called for peace, we have taken the initiative. This government has removed hundreds of roadblocks, barriers, and checkpoints. Prime Minister Netanyahu openly called for 2 states, for 2 peoples. Moreover, this government implemented in Secretary Clinton's words an unprecedented settlement freeze so as to kickstart the talks. To start a war, you only need 1 party. To make peace, you need 2 to tango. And that is why we have called time and again for direct negotiations with the Palestinian Authority without any preconditions. I do not have to tell you that the phrase addressing security needs is not just a slogan. The people of Israel rightfully demand a secure peace. As Prime Minister of Israel in 2000, I withdrew all our troops from the southern part of Lebanon. What did we receive in return? Hezbollah and tens of thousands of rockets. In the same year, I offered extremely generous peace settlement to Yasser Arafat with the full support of President Clinton. What did we receive in return? A wave of attacks that took the lives of over 1,000 Israelis to terror. In 2005, Ariel Sharon withdrew every Israeli community and army base from the whole Gaza Strip. Again, what did we get? A terror base for Iran, Hamas, and once again, thousands of rockets. This is why the new Palestinian state must remain demilitarized with creative security arrangements all along the Jordan Valley. We cannot afford another Iranian terror base on our borders. The solution for the Palestinian refugee must be settled in the future Palestinian state outside of Israel's borders. Israel's own final borders, which require major and painful concessions, will include the large settlement blocks creating a solid Jewish majority within that line, and an independent, democratic, viable Palestinian state on the other. I strongly believe that an agreement based on Netanyahu's Bar Ilan and Knesset speeches, President Obama's 2 speeches from May of this year, and the Clinton parameters can still be achieved, and thus saving us the alternatives which are much, much worse. But having said that, I should emphasize that we will not accept unilateralism. We will not agree to the creation of a Palestinian state if the raison d'etre of that Palestinian state is to continue the conflict and to deny our basic national rights. History has shown that the only way to reach an agreement is by sitting down and talking, addressing all core issues. Only via direct negotiations can we achieve peace, just, secure, and real. At the same time, the people of Israel must work tirelessly for the maintenance of peace and unity within its own ranks. Home front peace includes the maintenance of our liberal democracy, where the rule of the majority will never be at the expense of the rights of the minority. I know that in this room there is a genuine concern regarding the wave of proposed legislation that has the potential to harm our democracy and the rule of law. As the Defense Minister of the State of Israel and as an Israeli citizen, I can assure you that I will stand rock solid against any attempt to curb freedoms or undermine our democracy. I will not allow politicized, targeted legislation to undermine the value of the supremacy of the law. The only Jewish democratic state in the world must remain exactly that, a Jewish and a democratic state. There is a phrase, when you have 2 Jews, you have 3 opinions. In Israel, we sometimes have 4 or 5. The political realities, including in this country, are sometimes complicated. It is very difficult for leaders to implement changes and sometimes lead their nation in what they believe is the right direction. Your presence and voice is essential to our decision-making. It gives us all one more perspective and one more view to think about. We welcome the debate and highly value your input in our internal debate in Israel. To finish off, I would like to go back to the Miami platform, and I quote, "The intense love between Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael has not subsided. The State of Israel will continue to invest in that love and understanding." Winston Churchill said, "Courage is what it takes to stand up and speak, but courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen." I look forward to many more years of also sitting down and listening to you. Continuing the important dialogue between the people of Israel and the Reformed Jews of America. It is an honor and a privilege to be here surrounded by the loud and proud family of the Reform Movement of America. Make it louder. Especially during Hanukkah, when your fiery spirit of pride and progress burns so bright. On behalf of the State of Israel, myself and our defense establishment and armed forces, I would like to thank you all for your unremitting support of the Jewish homeland, and I wish all of you Chag Sameach. Thank you. Can someone turn on the lights that I will see you? I can hardly see the 10th row. Thank you all. Wow, that's good. That's much better. Next time, leave it that way. Thank you. Never, not in a GA gathering, not in APAC gathering, I didn't see such a huge group of Jews coming together, fighting for a cause and fighting for Israel. Thank you very much once again. Thank you all. Chag Sameach and להתראות in Israel.